Hello YouTube and welcome back. This is part 2 of my Scratch review. Now if you hadn't seen part 1, which you should do if you're going to watch part 2, it's a 2D game engine. You don't need any prior knowledge of programming. So yeah, it's in general a pretty good program. But if you want to know my exact score, well, you're going to have to watch on. Okay, so we're in Scratch and I'm going to start off with some of the things that really annoy me about Scratch. Now, you can import sounds, but one of the main things is that you can't actually pause music. There's no way at all. You can either play it or stop it, or you can change the volume, but that's about it. Another thing that really annoys me is that there is no physics. You actually have to code in your own makeshift physics, which don't really turn out well unless you're a really good programmer. But yeah, they're the two main things that get me about Scratch. If not for those, it would easily get a 10 out of 10. Okay, we're gonna start with a more complex script now. We're gonna work on a platformer. So we'll delete the old cat. And for the platforms we'll use it as a background. So I'm just using the square tool to draw our platforms. Now if you're using this method, then all the platforms need to be the same colour, because in the sensing blocks we are gonna test if it is touching the colour black. You could make them different colours, but that would require either testing for multiple colours, or making the platforms separate sprites and testing if it is touching the sprite. But this is a much easier and quicker way. So I'm just quickly drawing in some shapes so we can test the physics that we're going to make ourselves. Okay, so we've got our platforms done. Now we're going to make a sprite to move around on them. Don't worry, we're not going to make another Drunken Circle, but we will use the gradient tool, because I really like it. A nice red gradient would look nice, I think. We only want a small circle, otherwise it'll get jammed in between the platforms. As you can see, we've made them quite close together. Nah, let's go for different shades of red. 50 shades of red, eh? Sorry about that. Right. You can go on the preview and click and drag your sprites around if you hadn't noticed. So instead of the thing we used before, when something clicked, or pressed rather, then do the script underneath, we're gonna do a forever if. In my opinion, it's just a bit faster. That's the only real reason I'm doing this. And we're going to duplicate it for the different keys, as you saw we did in the episode before this. Up, down, right and left. Up should probably be space, because people are used to pressing space to jump, so I'm going to change that. Okay, so what do we want it to do? We want it to change the X by a positive value when it's going right, and a negative value when it's going left. I think 5 will do. You don't want it to be too quick. I'm drinking coffee if you're wondering what that was. You can't live without coffee, can you? Anyway, okay. So on the right here, we're running our script. But there's no physics. It is just really just floating. A platformer, it needs to react with the platforms, needs to bounce on them, needs to, react with the platforms. So by doing that, we will create like fake physics, really. And we're going to use the center block to do that. Now to get a nice jumping animation, we're just going to use the glide. And a glide basically, it doesn't just jump to the area, it's a smooth transition. So that's the best way to do the jump. Now, we can't define a Y position as an integer or value because it could be anywhere on the screen. So we have to add a value to the Y position that it's already at. Hope you understand that. And the X position is going to stay the same because jump just goes up and down. Then it's going to glide back down slightly quicker. Wait, no, we can't do that because it's just going to keep on falling forever. So for this, we're going to use a forever if. Now, it's going to keep on falling until it hits a platform, i.e. the black colour. So, if it's not touching the black colour, then it's going to keep going down. When it does hit the black colour, the statement will evaluate to false, and it won't keep going down, it'll stop, and that'll make it look like it's bounced off the top of the platform. Make it look like a rigid body. So we're going to test that now. Right. That's working fine, but I've noticed a problem. Usually in platformers, when you're falling, you can use the left and right keys to control where you fall. And we can't do that in here because it's going to keep on going down. Okay? And then when it hits the black colour, it'll stop. But in the meantime, we can't control it. So we're going to make that a separate script. So it's no longer in the space statement. No matter what, if it's not touching the colour black, it's going to fall. There we go. There is a slight problem though, and it's another limitation of Scratch, is that you can get trapped in the middle of a platform, and there's not much you can do about some really complex scripts. So, yeah, it's a shame about that really. Okay, so what we are going to do now is we're going to get another center block with the colour, and there was a problem before that they could jump in the middle of the air. There's no way we stop that, so in order to jump we are going to make it so they have to be touching a platform, and what was we're going to put it out of the loop because they could just hold space, but instead we want them to actually have to press space each time to jump. So we're going to test it now, and it falls a bit slow, but we can't actually do much about that because we have to do it 1 pixel at a time, otherwise it might skip the platform, if you see what I mean. Because if it moves in, say, chunks of 5, and the platform is only 4 pixels thick, when it's moving down, it could miss the platform totally. So we have to do it pixel by pixel, which is a shame. And that makes it quite slow. Again, another reason that Scratch isn't the best to use if you're making a professional 2D game. So, that is the end of the review. Ooh, and before I forget, we need to give this a score, don't we? That's one of the most vital parts of a review. Don't quite know what that was. Yeah, and another problem with Scratch is it actually doesn't support vector graphics. That's going to be a feature in the upcoming Scratch 2.0, which I will be doing a series on. I'll actually be making a game in that. So yeah, it's quite pixely. Anyway, time for the final score. That's right, 8 out of 10. So I hope you've liked this review of the 2D game engine Scratch, and make sure you like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the upcoming series on Team Overload It. Bye.